Hello, and thanks for joining us for the series of conversations, New Life. Hello, Dr. Laitman. Hello, Nitsa. Hello. And together we're trying to study from Dr. Laitman how to turn our life here into a better life, a new life, a life that instead of each one of us to be bothered by his day-to-day problems and troubles, not being able to raise his head above the water, but to constantly engage in survival, how can we develop some kind of a network between us that can bring to the lives of each and every one of us, each and everyone's home, a new spirit of strength, warmth, security? And how can we turn this life here into an experience which is a true adventure instead of survival? On your recent conversations, Dr. Laitman, you started talking about a social tool that sounds very promising, very interesting, like some kind of a startup, a very beautiful social model. I'll explain what you told us and the purpose of our conversation today, and we'll take it from there. We're talking about some kind of a social model of mutual responsibility. Suppose each one of us has plenty of different things at home that he never uses. And if he not like the flea market. No, not like the flea market. Suppose if we take all these things that we don't use that we can bring to some storage or mutual responsibility club, each one can enjoy it. Yes, each one of us has a profession. Each one of us has a profession that he's working in, and he could give 1 or 2 weeks, 1 or 2 hours a week or more for the benefit of others, of the public, and then between us we could create this reciprocal network that will provide us with free services that today I don't have the money to buy because of the deteriorating economical situation and what's going on in Europe and all over the world and in Israel, and each one of us feels hard times in his pocket. So what you say is that together we can do many things that none of us can do separately, individually. I'd like to add to that. We see that this crisis that is coming our way, it's not only giving us a blow to our pockets, but it's a strong blow to our nervous system. It brings people to panic, to very hard states of despair, anxiety for the future, for one's own existence, and it brings the people to a state where they become hysterical. We see that all over the world there are cases of people burning themselves. How come? What is it about it? What kind of a logic is there to it? But if you turn to psychologists, you'll see that a man in time of pressure, when he's under stress and pressure, he becomes like a child, yelling, "I want something here and now. I don't want to wait any longer. Why are they breaking showcases, burning cars? Who benefits from it?" It is a result of the inner pressure where he feels himself that he is exploding, and it comes to him as a result of the frustration that brings him to great anxiety and an existential anxiety here and now. And there is no existential anxiety here and now, but this is how it seems in the big eyes of fear. You can't supervise it, we can't withhold it or restrain it in some kind of framework under certain limitations. Usually out of that people come and make revolutions and riots and so on. By building a social network, a network of mutual responsibility, we lower all of these great mental problems We even said that we can measure how much healthier these people will be according to ordering different medicine and visiting the doctor and so on. But the main thing is that we give a person inner peace to breathe. On the one hand, the sorrow shared is a sorrow halved, even though you feel a sorrow. But here it's not only a problem. They compensate each other for whatever is missing. They start buying things together, which also, brings things to half their price. And here we open an opportunity for them to understand what the right kind of connection between people is. That out of thin air, you get a profit, a benefit that you can't even buy with money. And along with all of these actions of connection and unity, we nonetheless somehow have to explain it to them psychologically through, suppose, domestic peace, different activities for children, for parents, through a new attitude in schools as to how to study in a classroom, and different such, through songs, through workshops, of course, and different other activities, to give them along with it, coming to a good excitement as a result of the connection, to explain to them that there is a special force and that helps us really be above all problems, that it will help us be in harmony with nature, and then to merit a state where all the problems will go away altogether, because we and nature become as one mechanism, as one body that's in balance. And if it's in balance, then it's impossible that such things will explode in it, like problems and terrorism and wars and so on. By this, we become protected against any bad thing to such an extent that all in all, what I have built throughout the thousands of years of my existence, I've built protective systems against the health problems, eco blows like heat or cold, terrorism, the lack of anything and everything. Now I won't have to do that anymore. If we advance toward the right kind of connection between us and we'll be balanced with nature, like one balanced system, nothing could happen here because all of us, the whole of humanity, is inside this system. And if by this I cause harmony, balance, then I'll see I have an army, I have the police, I have everything, but nonetheless I suddenly discover that I don't need it. That it's like Bala Sulam says that, okay, I'm opening a window here, just saying this, that like Bala Sulam says that in this case, no foreign force can touch us. Close window. Okay, so if we want to ask a question about this network, what is its character? What kind of spirit does it bring with it? From what we understand, this network, it gives especially a sense of security and protection to anyone who's a part of it. That's the inner part, besides the services. Yes, but specifically the spirit. What does it give? In terms of the feeling that it gives the people, are there other things that they feel as a result? Suddenly, I feel that I enjoy. I'm not sitting at home in my living room cursing the neighbors and living off that. cursing them, their children, whatever. Suddenly, I live a bit higher than that, in an uplifted state of spirits. I feel free. I might as well not lock the door. I'm together with everyone. It's a feeling that gives a person the openness of his life. He suddenly feels himself. Psychologists, they admitted as well that suddenly a person feels that his life is not only his, he feels also a bit of the other's life, and as a result, he has an expansion, a kind of a better feeling, tranquility, harmony, tranquility, comfort. He feels that he doesn't have to care for his family by himself, that they're all sitting on his head and the kids constantly bugging him with, "Dad, where's the bicycle? Where's the ball? Where's the doll?" Or, "I want something else." But everything is open for the kids. They can go to any circles that they want to, activities, and even he feels that he donates and he is honored by it. So there is support both from the negative and as if from the positive, and also from the as if negative side, that even though I have to go and work, but I feel that as a result I get honor and prestige. And this way that we're inside this integral system, I never feel, whatever I'm in, whatever I get or give, I never feel that I lose anything. It's always benefit. It's always a kind of a machine that works really without fuel. It's like a perpetuum mobile, where both in receiving and giving, it gives me an uplifted state. Now, this network that you're describing, why do we want to really ask about it? Because it's something that does not exist in our reality to this day. And this is why I want to start feeling it, understanding it, and only then, gradually, as a result, we'll be able to develop some kind of a model that we can implement in different places. But really, on the first stage, we want to understand how does it work. We're starting to feel it. I'm sure that it will not be able to work unless we accompany each and every phase through roundtables, workshops, discussions, singing together, so to speak, on the lawn, sing along, different such things that people get satisfaction from. We have to constantly make sure that they will be satisfied, but a targeted satisfaction coming from the source of unity. You want satisfaction, you unite. You feel bad, you feel something, some kind of suddenly the government puts taxes, new taxes. That very moment we decide that we have a workshop. The whole town comes and has a workshop together, or a neighborhood. And the result from the workshop has to be simple. Through the connection between us, we transcend into a state where we don't feel nothing bad in what's happening. Also, rationally, even if I'll have to live, suppose with 20% less than before, then I'll compensate these 20% by the feeling of happiness. Feeling. A person does not live only from bread. And it's possible, and maybe it will even be healthier, without the different Pepsi Coke and the different, harmful things and chocolates and whatever for the kids, for me, and so on. But I'll keep the uplifted spirits and even ascend. So I won't go overseas. I'll find here in Israel or wherever I live places to have picnics that will fulfill me much more than walking around in cities, stinky cities overseas someplace. So, one of the principles that you're telling us about is throughout the whole path, we have to create a process of conversation, talking to each other that will on the one hand will give us the feeling that everything is possible, and smile for everyone, peaceful attitude towards everyone. Each one sets an example for the others, and this way we come out of every problem. Now, when we want to help people, and sorry for cutting you, but it's not some kind of a psychological trick. But here we are formulating a new force, an integral force, connection, all in all, where this force of connection, it's like we see the force that's in the masses that come out from the different cycles, like from the different movements, like occupied and so on, that people warm each other up, then there's a great spirit made out of it. It's not that 100 people come together, so it's multiplied 100. No, it's time 1,000, because each one sustains the others, warms the others up, and showing it to the others how he's all becoming heated up and so on. The same here, but on the opposite. If we evoke the force of the public, it is a force which is much more than the total sum of the individuals. And the influence of this force over each and every one is tremendous. It can bring a person to states that he could never reach on his own. Really, maybe it'll be interesting to create this, to have this discernment that exists. You can search on Google about the power of the masses. Yeah, there is this expression that says that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Yeah, there's research about it. The only problem that it's with respect to negativity in the world, but we're talking about the positive effect. Okay, so this positive effect that is less known, let's really see what principles what warms each other up, heats each other up during the riots. We understand what principles unite in the network of mutual responsibility that we're talking about. Mutual influence and integration. There's nothing mystical about it. Obviously, I'm talking in simple language. Simple language. If 100 people influence a single person with their opinion through their integration, then he gets their force multiplied by 100. And if that penetrates him, of course he can't be against or cope with their opinion, and he joins them. This is the one thing. Another thing is that if they decide that they become connected between them in order to achieve some kind of a goal, suppose to build a better life, connections, storages, activities and circles for the kids, security net, different things, then of course this whole mass influences each and every one, and each one with his impression influences the masses. Then there is a gradual duplication infinitely happening, that it's like with a stew on the fire that is cooking up, and it's already the bubbles are appearing and it's really boiling. So this way it becomes, suppose, not in a linear development, but in an exponential one, that each one acquires more and more forces, starts feeling everyone more and more, until we suddenly feel that we are one. We are one, and then a person truly loses, psychologically loses his self, And instead of me, feels we. And this way, he already has the ability to, it's a supernatural ability to act. We see it from all of our different cases and research and psychology and so on. Meaning that the connection, it can show us a tool, a very strong means for change in society that actually, of course, we'll have to work and manufacture things and take care of distribution, but these things will be easy and we'll do it happily, and suddenly we'll feel the need only for essential, basic needs, and each one will be proud about how much he's donating to society and how much he's actually he's needy of very simple things, because he has a completely different kind of fulfillment, sense of happiness, and not the sense of it's not the riches that he needs in order to be happy, and or the sense of power and overpowering others, or envy, lust, honor, and such things. But all of these discernments will work positively. He'll be envious of others as to how much they donate, and his lust will be the extent to which he connects with them, and the honor that he'll give others, it will be honor as a result of mutual participation, meaning it all depends on the education, how much we'll be able to build the network of connections. Earlier, you've given a very figurative example and very actual theme. Suppose new taxes are put on the public. You say that that very day we have to sit down in our centers, municipality centers, and those social network centers, and have a workshop. Suppose that's what's happening today. We get new taxes, and what? First of all, we have to understand that it won't help, and what you're talking about now, this is what we'll talk about on our meeting. Suppose today there are new decrees, new taxes. So let's start. We're gathering. We're gathering here out of preparation, appreciation, experience, that whatever we do won't change reality. We can go to Jerusalem, have riots there. What else can you do? Besides the riots, besides protests, you can also have maybe riots. You won't go to work for a week, but all in all, we see that the situation is objective. It happens all over the world. And if we don't make the kind of calculations of but it was and so on, but if we calculate things to this day correctly, that's the situation. Even the government that maybe can play with different things can't do it any longer. They have nothing to play with. And suppose from this day on, they have to give us more taxes, raising prices, and all in all, they'll take off another 20% from the family's income in average. All in all, we have to take one action. Workshop. Roundtables. Roundtables, I don't really want to say that, because roundtables, it's discussions like in the parliament or something. And workshop, it's unity, it's connection. Roundtables, it's only mutual discussion, conversations that I never talk to you, and I'm ready to sit down and talk to you. As if incidentally. A workshop means I come to unite with others. The key sentence to it all is, we don't care. That's it. Love covers all crimes. We ourselves, inside ourselves, have to find how can we keep on living in a way that we won't feel or will barely feel this decrease in income. Meaning, gradually, we come down to a state, and really it's going to be that way, and nature will necessitate us, that we have to live on the animalistic level, not like beasts in the forest, but on the animalistic level, on the normal level of consumption per person. It's called rational consumption or rational economy, not necessary, essential, as we call it, that necessities are neither praised nor condemned, but rational consumption. If we come down to the rational level, then we have to also understand and learn and teach others that still it means that we have fat and we have to decrease it. This is what you do on a day that they got new taxes. Look, I can't explain everything all at once, both broad and deep. Okay, not broadly then. Suppose we have now a workshop in the city of Ra'anana, but you won't understand if I'll explain to you only about the workshop. Why do I do one thing or another? But I came to the workshop, so explain, please. So what will it give you simply to understand about the workshop without understanding a bit around it? What am I doing? What am I doing? Why am I doing? Will you explain it to me on that evening? No. So when? In general, maybe in other times, maybe part of it yes, part of it no. So it can happen that very evening. Suppose I'm the audience. You invited us and we came. Why are we writing it all? What, it's only a manual's guide? Who'll operate them? The guides. So the guides have to know what I'm about to say. Okay, but when will you tell me what the audience need to know? They'll understand as a result of what I'll say now what the audience has to know, the public. I can't give you simply a few sentences and have a workshop and then what? Everything's open. No, I have to give you a bit of the inner background, the philosophy of it, the whole tool, the whole method. Okay, so what we said is that our key sentence for which we came to this workshop is, we don't care, love covers all crimes. Love covers all deficiencies, let's call it that way. Okay, and the next thing that you say is that we have to find how will we keep on living, barely feeling any decrease in our income. That's the 20%, suppose. What now? Okay, if not now, then earlier, but we have to explain that the tendency of the crisis is to bring us down to a rational level of consumption. What is a rational level of consumption? That I have everything that I need for life, for a calm, tranquil life where I'm donating to society, getting from society. We have an equal level of living. What do you mean? Equal for everyone? What do you mean equal for everyone? I make 20,000 shekels and you make 5,000 shekels. No, so we have to gradually explain to them what the tendency of nature is. What? To bring all of us to equality. Wait a second, the people taking to the streets, aren't they yelling about that? They can shout whatever they want, but if I make 20,000 and you make 5, I'm against any kind of equality if this is what you offer. I'm not offering anything. I simply explain the direction of the evolutionary development, the law of nature. We should explain this now on this phase of explanation. It's explanation. It doesn't mean that we have to give it up now. Bit by bit, I have to explain to them where these things are taking us. Why? For them to go home. Earlier, I understood that there is a social network of mutual support. I come, donate whatever I have, my free time, my TV that I don't use. You bring your products, your skills, and together we have a kind of a pool where through mutual support we can cope with the decrease. Now you want to explain to me about a future picture where all people will be in some kind of equality on an equal level of income. It's 1,000 light years away from my perception. Why explain this today? I'm not saying today, I'm saying that in the series of explanations, I must nonetheless explain to you the entire history and our whole background and what is the nature of the crisis, where does it come from, what does it have to end with, general equilibrium, general harmony. What is that? For us to be equal, inequality. In bodies, we're equal. Maybe you need 2 kilos meat per day, and I need half a kilo of fish. But that's called equality because that's what each one of us needs according to his body. But it could not be that one is more than another. In order to come out of the global integral crisis, of course, we have to be as one man and one heart in mutual connection, in mutual support, mutual guarantee. You will gradually have to explain these principles to them because this is what nature is pushing us to. And the crisis will not stop unless we will want to take on these conditions. So bit by bit we'll advance toward it. But it has to be. And this crisis is coming in order for people to get the understanding of what connection and unity is. How do you measure unity? That we all use a single storage. You don't need you don't need a warehouse with stuff. You're making 20,000 shekels, but I do. I make only 5. So the unity between us is that we're equal in body and each one of us donates to the system. That's called connection. Mutuality. How do we come to that ever? With the help of the global crisis. But from what I understand, there's a movement called the Arvut movement, mutual responsibility movement, that doesn't want to bring things to a collapse. And therefore, in order for you not to reach the result of one level, one standard of living, and so on, in order for you not to come to that through the blows, it brings it to you with I don't know, flying saucer, flying carpet, nice, pleasant safety cushion. But you'll have to know all that in advance. Know what? That we are headed for equality. Okay, in abstract, that's great. I'm all for it. Yeah, but it wasn't an abstract. Earlier you talked about things that are very clear and unpreferable in my eyes. Equal level of income, we have the same body, this, that, I don't know. You are imagining the 99% of the population of the world, or the inhabitants of, suppose, Israel, as beasts that you merely have to tell them how in their cage they should be connected in order for everyone to have food. The wolves and the sheep. Connect, please, wolves and sheep in a way that everyone will have. Otherwise, very quickly, you'll eat. Those will eat these, and everyone will die. Those that were eaten, the sheep will die, and the wolves will eat later on from hunger because of not having sheep. So connect in a way that somehow there will be balance between you, that you'll be able to exist. I'm asking you, Do they not need to develop in their mental part, in their thought, in their rationale, in their intentions, and there's something that raises them to the level of man instead of being sheep and wolves? Are they men or not? What does nature want from them? To leave them this way? To simply cause them to be in some kind of a fenced place, in some kind of a more or less balanced form of existence on the animalistic level, or a bit more than that? So, the integral education has to come to them only gradually. Even in order to be connected to you and to follow you like a herdsman, they also have to more or less know the order of the development of things. In order to put together the social network of the mutual responsibility, they have to know things. A network, it's not just storage and warehouses, it's a network of people, of connections between people where they understand ever more what they're doing, why. They have an inner compensation. You have to raise them from the level from where they want to nothing, where their minds were stuffed, clogged. Why is this? What is this crisis for? It's a targeted crisis. Are you simply running away from the fire, or you use this fire in order to warm yourself, cook, and benefit? Either this crisis seems to you as something bad that you simply want to quench it as much as you can, or you understand that it's also healment. We also start understanding only now, finally, lately, that each and every illness, it's not an illness, it's the cleansing and the healing of the body. And this is how we have to look at it inside the crisis. It's not a crisis. You know what crisis in Greek means? New birth. It's not the right definition of the word the way we use it, crisis, for the crisis. The truth is that it's a new birth. It is the turning point. You have to explain it to them, of course. You have to give them hope. Guys, we are now like a fetus in his mother's womb. Everything's dark, suddenly pressure. These are the labor pains by which we are going to be born into a new degree. Let's use it correctly. Let's help ourselves undergo this narrow path. Birth is something very painful. But if you operate along with nature in mutual efforts, then you're born quickly and more easily. What we want to do is hasten the birth. That's it. But for this, they also have to be your partners. It's not simply so that let's unite, hold hands, sing, dance, sit down, get up, what? These are serious people that have to know that here they're participating in a historical process. You have to raise their level of participation of what's happening here, how strong they are, that here they're building something new, that here they're setting an example, a pattern of the new humanity. This is an example that they can give to the whole world tomorrow that's really suffering, that's undergoing collapse. And we'll give them this example. They'll learn from us. Everyone will know about us. People from all over the world, media will come here, scientists to research, and will explain to them what we're doing. Anyone will be able to explain this, you understand? You're not simply organizing flock, but the crisis is coming in order to raise them from the level of beast to the level of man. You're right that here we need professionalism, artistry that's lacking, and what portions to release this knowledge to them, in what form, songs, short movies, theatrical scenes, television, different things, in an indirect form to show it on others. Examples from nature about what's going on in the general development of the stars, in the development of man, a bit in history maybe, laughing around a bit maybe, but to see that it's perceived in them in a form that first of all, okay, there's something about it, and then you explain to them what did they see, what did they hear, and this is how it's gradually perceived by them. It's the artistry of education, of teaching. So, okay, let's map the interests and see where can we create a point of connection. Bit by bit, we bring them the importance of connection being higher than anything else, to the point where all the differences and gaps between them, they see them as the source of problems and troubles, that I'm making 20,000 and you make only 5, it starts burning me from within. I start feeling that it's wrong. Why is it that way? You want to create a mutual cash box. Suppose today I'm on level 0 of development. This thing that you're talking about with respect to my state of 0, where do you put it? I'm the masses on level 0. What you declared just now, this, where do you put it? Call it degree X or Y. How far is it from me, this goal? It all depends on how you work with society. It all depends on the social conditions. I can't create an equation. If the social conditions are X and the society is in a good state with a kind of population, and there are these and those differences in income and knowledge and everything, and with the economical decrease and eco blows and health and different things that vary and change and all this, and you have workshops so and so, and half a year, suppose you feel in people that they're ready to give up the difference in their personal income. I can't tell you, because it's plenty of things. You have to see them from the field. Okay. From the field, there's no need to release these kinds of ideas into the field for the time being. Yes, but I'm telling you as an organizer that this is the goal. Yes, that this is the goal. To bring them to this kind of a decision themselves internally. Yes, this means that you worked correctly. Okay, suppose this is my goal. And there are the masses with respect to which I work. I want to use the existential problem that exists today in order to aim the public towards further connection between people. You invented a model that's called mutual responsibility. Through our mutuality, we can better cope with the things that are pressuring each one of us. Someone will do it as a result of identifying himself with this idea Even if he makes 50,000 shekels a month, I don't spend the money in any way. Why not do good to others? You're not doing it in order for others to feel good. You're doing it to feel yourself better. Don't act before us as a white sheep. Yeah, but to this day, my campaign simply works so that by that you see that you acquire a better feeling, so you pay for it. How? By throwing a few rags from your closet that you don't use anyway. You were stingy, you didn't want to throw them away, so now you're giving them to the storage and you're proud about it. Is it a bad result? No, to begin with, it's a good. So we're in the beginning because there's no network. It doesn't exist yet. Okay, from light to heavy go the corrections. Okay, so we start with that. This is what you're adding. If this network will only be a network of I take the surplus from my house and she from her house and so on, we have a storage of things that whoever needs something can come and take, and another level where I dedicate 1, 2 hours and so from my skills for the benefit of society in which I live, and she does too, and so on. As a result, we have different activities that make things better for everyone. You said that if we have only this, it's not enough. You're not satisfied by it. You want to add something to it. You build a cooperative like I don't know, like the bus company or whatever. Okay, now I want to add to it values and understanding. What are these values, this understanding, this surplus that you want to add? Not surplus, but to add to these interactions. These interactions, they seem great, good chance that it'll catch because we see the benefit. You say that to this we have to add a level, not from above, but from below, infrastructure. What is that infrastructure and how do I introduce it? I don't have the strength to talk about it. It's workshops and explanation and theater. No, not the format, but the ideas. Earlier you started explaining about things that sounded like, I don't know, that I won't be happy to hear if this will be the ideological infrastructure. Okay, you have to explain to them the reason for our situation, our unique situation. In our country, in our area, in the whole world, why did we come to this? And what's going on in the world in general? That we have united and suddenly we feel that everyone is feeling some kind of a wave. And this wave is changing, and the second wave comes, and a third, and every time we're really washed by it, and every such wave takes a bit more from our life, from our health, from our pocket, and from the comfort of the ecosystem, and another wave, and another one. This is what we feel. We, for the several few years, 2, 3 past years, we feel that every year is becoming worse. And 2, 3 times a year comes some kind of a wave, washes us like a tsunami, and takes things from us with it, and we every time feel ourselves that we lost a bit more and a bit more. Why does it happen? This is what we have to know. And if we can compensate, and if we can even stop these waves, calm this tsunami down that comes to us, this is actually, I want to explain to them through the series of conversations and activities and workshops that we talk about. We can talk on our workshops about what we do practically in order to implement between us. with the storages, the different activities. So for children, for whatever, we can have a workshop about this. And we have workshops of a kind that is called actually the foundations of the state. We have to first of all make sure that they'll understand that as a result of knowing these foundations, we can, in general, through the means that we will discover, to treat the root of the problem. Not simply that we were robbed another 20% of our income, so we compensate it somehow by ourselves. No. But we have to see, can we reach a state where every month another 20% will be compensated and not that it will be taken from us? And for this we have to know the reason of development, the process of development, the goal of development, what forces work here. Are these forces influencing us and we're incapable of doing anything about it? We're really led as sheep to the slaughter, or we can resist or even use it for our own benefit. Maybe simply the lack of understanding, like with all the rest of nature's laws, the lack of understanding of these laws is bringing us to problems. But if we know how to use it, then like with wind, like with fire, like with any other thing, we limit this phenomenon and navigate it, target it in a good, positive direction to get energy from it, to get the right kind of result. So here, inside this crisis that we're going through, and on all of these waves, there is an operating force. And it somehow, systematically wants to destroy us. Why? What is it about it? Then about the climate we say, okay, there's a warming up. Maybe we cause it, maybe we don't. I don't know. But if we're not talking about the climate, but about the general direction, in betrayals and prostitution for girls and drugs and cruelty in society and bankruptcy and different things and plenty of unemployed and lack of health and all different kinds of lies where all the different systems stop working all together in a way that they are useful for a citizen. Here we see that there is some kind of a corrupting force here. It is an evil force that works here. Why does nature influence us the way it does? That you explain it easily. You explain it through theater games, could be cartoons, like small bullets. 2-3 minutes, another 2-3 minutes for all the inhabitants of the area where you live, and bit by bit they understand that yes, it's not random, but we have to do something. Where is our free choice? Where is our participation? Where can we stop it and even invert it for our own favor, like with any other phenomenon that happened to this day? All in all, we see that there was a desert. The Jews came to the land of Israel, and look what they made. With all the wars and with everything else, look what they did. A person is capable of doing everything from scratch, but he simply has to know what are the conditions, what are the forces that are operating here, what's going on here. So the more we learn these things, the better we'll know how to get out of it. The whole world will deteriorate and will prosper. And it's not a matter of prosperity for us, it's a matter of to exist or not. Don't forget about the conditions we're living in. So if this is the way that I reach that population, we have to think about it. We have to think about how to approach them, what portions to drip this idea. I'm making them into people that it's not that he was simply working like an ass, like a donkey, dragging sacks of weed or whatever, and he comes back home and sits in front of the television drinking beer, watching soccer. No, I'm starting to turn him into someone who participates willingly, consciously in his society, and I encourage him and respect him for it, and he starts feeling self-esteem, self-respect, and his children treat him differently. Everyone. It is a system that you have to build it integrally, in general. And you regularly you put them into discussions. What does a person have to do in the evening? Instead of them watching the Big Brother or Survival or whatever, they should have workshops on in the square, in the city square. What will attract them? The talking itself. They like to talk, so talk. Right, to ask you, how do you see the vision of this network? From what I could absorb from what you said, it's a kind of a vision of a network that develops man, supports, something of the kind. How do you see? I'd like a title for it, because I'd like to continue and develop the idea of the network. The goal of the network is to deliver a person from his slumber, to shake him up, to wake him up, for him to wake up. This could be maybe your goal, but what goal do we present them with? To use the crisis as a lever to advance, for it not to be as a collapse, but as birth, like the word itself means. And one last word about this. Opening a window. Look in the book The Last Generation and what Bala Sulam says there about the propaganda. He has many of these points about this. To go over it and to see what does he recommend there in the words and between the words, we'll now understand it in a deeper, more profound way. Close window. Our time is up. Thank you very much, Dr. Laitman. Thank you, Nitsa. We'll continue on our next conversations. Till next time, all the best.